And with the 14th pick of the NFL draft, Cade selects.
Christian tackle.
That's a realistic pick. We were doing some mock drafts and we noticed Rashawn Slater is available. I think Godfather Todd, Mock and Todd McShay's 4.0 had Slater available on the board at 14. Just because now 5 quarterbacks go in the first 13 picks, according to these mocks. Before we touch on some Vikings talk, Mac Jones going number 3 to the Niners.
It fits their system.
It does.
As much as I usually hate Alabama quarterbacks,
right?
He's not a typical Alabama quarterback.
Yeah,
he shows a lot of pro level. I mean, made a lot of audibles, made a lot of throws. He looked good. I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard to mess up when you're throwing two receivers going in the top 15, Jalen Waddle and Devontae.
Do they have any offensive linemen in the draft that are top tier offensive linemen?
I think they got Leatherwood.
Okay.
And I think they have like an interior guy. I think actually they do have like a guard or maybe a center.
Okay. They have the best players. They have for like the last 10 years,
Yeah.
So it's weird to me. It's like, as a Niners fan, you gave up 3 first-round picks for Mac Jones.
I don't think they'll draft Mac Jones.
Who do you think they'll? They'll draft Lance?
They would have needed to trade back to get Mac Jones.
Yeah,
I think he would have been there.
Right? You think?
I think they're going to go after. I think they're honestly going to take. They obviously have a quarterback between the top, or that not obviously Trevor Lawrence, but Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. I think they have their guy they want, but I think they'll take even.
Yeah.
If the Jets do have a quarterback,
yeah,
I think they'll be fine. They're like, okay, you take Wilson, we'll take you. You take Fields, we'll take Wilson. Or I think they're hoping that they don't draft a quarterback. They grab Saywell, and then they get Wilson.
As a Vikings fan, if the Jets drafted, let's say, Zach Wilson, I would love an opportunity to bring Darnold in over here.
I think he'd be a great person to trade for.
Yeah. You could get good value. It's not a Josh Rosen situation.
No.
The Jets have been horrific for the last decade, if not more. So I think it'd be wise for the Jets to take somebody that complements Darnold, see what you have. The Jets would be the first or second team in NFL history to spend a top 3 pick on a quarterback 2 out of the last 3 years. So it doesn't make sense for them to do it. And as good as Wilson is, I don't think it's not like there's an Andrew Luck sitting there.
No.
Well,
there's
Trevor Lawrence, who's going to go number 1. But if the Jets were picking number 1, you take Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
If the Vikings are picking number 1, Trevor Lawrence. But
if the Buccaneers picked first,
Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of the consensus. But I don't see why you don't build around him. So we were kind of doing some mock drafts a little bit ago on the Minnesota Vikings, and we had a couple interesting little nuggets to talk about here. What would you do if Kyle Pitts was still on the board? Rashawn Slater's off. Penei Sewell's off the board. You got Rossiau. You got Paye. You got Kyle Pitts. And like Darrisaw is there.
90% of most years, I would take Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
He's a generational type. He's very good. But this year is a little different for one thing. There's more than one position we kind of need to fill in the draft.
Yeah.
And we don't have a second pick.
Right.
If we could trade up from just give away all our fourths and a third for a second, Pitts. I don't see the Vikings doing that.
Right.
I see them actually doing opposite.
They still need depth at safety too. They have no depth at safety.
I was just looking when I did one of mine. I traded down not out of the first round, out of just 4 picks back to the Dolphins. So it was only 4 picks, but I got a second rounder and then gave up like a 4th rounder.
Okay.
But what I did with that then I still got Darrisaw, and then the second round In one of them, I just selected Rondell Moore.
That'd be so great.
Our one podcast we did with the Vikings, you said, why not take your offense into a top tier? That does that.
Yeah.
You solidify tackle,
Yeah.
and you get a third dangerous offense. That puts you into a top 10 offense.
Right.
And the other one I did Christian Darrisaw, Aziz Al-Ghulari, the edge rusher from Georgia, whose pro day stats were unreal.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of talented, athletic Georgia kids.
yeah,
crazy.
That whole defense is speed.
Yeah.
So if you can grab a Georgia guy,
Right.
I like him a lot in the NFL because it's all speed based.
Yeah.
So because before there was mock drafts, before we got Tomlinson, it was all defensive ends and D linemen.
Yeah.
Now you're not seeing that, but we still need it.
Yeah.
So if we could trade back, even just a couple trade or picks, get still a tackle or a guard, and then get that edge rusher. I mean, that's terrifying. That defense on paper, when you write it all down,
Is
it look
top tier.
It looks like you just force traded like a team on Madden.
Yeah, I know. It's
Like,
it's
doesn't
deep.
make sense.
Unpopular opinion here. What I would like if we did trade down is, let's say in the second round, I don't foresee it happening, but if it did, if Barnmore dropped to, let's say, 35 to 40, you got to take Christian Barnmore.
Yeah.
And I know that we have Tomlinson and Michael Pierce, but Michael Pierce isn't a third down defensive tackle. How great would it be to have an interior pass rush, dominant pass rush on third down to complement Daniil Hunter?
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't talking about this. I do think Zimmer is invested in DJ Wanham. DJ Wanham has kind of the Daniil Hunter build. He's obviously not Hercules like Daniil Hunter.
That's insane.
But DJ Wanham he looks like an elite pass rushing end. He does.
Yeah.
So, and they invested a 4th round pick in him last year, I think it was. So is it a 4th or 5th? It might have been 3rd.
It was late in the draft where you could take a chance on a guy like that.
Yeah, just like we did with Hunter.
You know, who's got the physical aspect. You just got to like.
We have the best D-line coach in the league. And
Do you think it's D-line coach or Zimmer?
well, Andre Patterson's pretty loved from what I hear. I mean, I just heard yesterday or 2 days ago that it was actually Andre Patterson was the one that calmed Daniil Hunter down. It wasn't Mike. Mike Zimmer said in his interview, he's texted Daniil here and there, but Andre Patterson's the one that called Daniil Hunter and said, we'll take care of you. Just chill out.
We got you.
Daniil Hunter, posted all the stuff back on his Instagram of all his Viking stuff and all Twitter and all that. So, kind of a scary situation as a Vikings fan because one, it's like you got to pay the guy because Daniil Hunter is generational.
Yeah.
But two, neck injuries are weird. Spinal neck injuries, it's like no matter how strong a person is, if there was a tweak there, whatever it was, how do we know it's not chronic? And
you really don't.
You don't. So it's kind of up in the air as far as Daniil Hunter goes still. Everyone's talking about him being back next year, but something's telling me something's going to come up again. So maybe you do draft an edge rusher. I don't know, but what we're seeing a lot in these mocks is like the first 18, 19 picks is basically all offense.
Yeah.
You can still trade back and get a Rossial or a Paye. You don't have to use your 14th pick on someone that's valued at 23, 24.
Yeah, I wouldn't draft Paye in the first round. But
I know you wouldn't.
I wrote that whole blog about it. And I just, you're right. You can move inside on third down. He's a bigger guy. Okay, if we were going off of size and size alone and guys who can do both, there's guys in the 4th, 5th round that we draft.
Just as athletic.
Just first rounders because he's big. The stats don't add up. He's a 3.5-year starter for Michigan. And he has 6.5, 8.5 sacks his career and 80 tackles.
No.
That's not first round. That's not top 15 numbers.
Pro Football Focus had an answer for that. They said he's double teamed on about 70% of his
A lot of guys are.
rushes.
I mean, look at any defensive lineman in the top round.
This is
round.
This is what excites me about him. He's 6'5",
Oh, right.
275, and he was a state champion 4x100 track runner.
Would you rather have him though, or Rossio.
Rossi.
Okay.
But, I mean, if we talk consolation prizes, because that's what Minnesota is consolation prize city, I'm happy with him. I'm not going to be mad if they draft him.
Before we got Tomlinson, I'd have been okay.
Yeah.
Now I would hate it. We
Right.
don't need that inside guy. You maybe on third down.
You got Armon Watts, who's decent at rushing the passer on third, but I see where you're coming from on that.
I just wouldn't do it now.
Right.
Especially since this is like a win now situation right now. We're not rebuilding. This is we put in money.
That's the goal of the
Zimmer
team.
started crying and Zimmer got his stuff.
Yep.
He said, our offense is good. I need defense. Get it. And we got it.
Yeah, he did say earlier this week that he was down in the dumps looking at his roster in week 16. What happened to Mike in that Saints game when Kamara ran for all those touchdowns and all those yards is Mike said, this will never happen to me ever again. I am done with dealing with this.
As much as I hated it, that won me my fantasy league.
So he went to Rick and he said, listen here, I'm in the last year of my contract. Let me do what I'm good at and let me show you what I can do. And although I'm discouraged about the offensive line, what excites me about the Vikings this year is Mike Zimmer's happy and he's excited.
Yep.
And
he does. In all his interviews, he looks.
He's chipper.
Even when he talks about his terrible offensive line and he sounds confident.
Yeah.
I still won't believe him that he actually thinks that way.
Right.
But he still maybe he does. Maybe he actually is excited and hey, do it. But I still don't think the offensive line we have now is anything closer than it's going to be. I think after June 1st, when we free up X amount of millions, I don't think it's going to go to a re-signing of anyone.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go straight to a line.
Yeah.
Some veteran tackle, or they're going to see the draft. Because if like Kyle Pitts is there, they'll draft Kyle Pitts, or maybe they will draft Rossio or something like that if the top linemen are gone, and then they'll go, okay, tackle. We need a tackle. Go get a tackle.
Yeah.
They'll spend the money. Go get them. So I think he knows, and he even said it in his press conference. He goes, "There's still players out there. There's still time, and we have money."
You got to read.
I don't think there's any rush in his eyes because you look at the veterans out there. There's not one guy that's up there that is what we need to get.
Yeah.
That we can afford.
There's still an offer sitting on the table for Forrest Lamp, but it's a low ball offer.
We're seeing what the market has on them.
Yeah, and it's the same situation as Xavier Woods, where they had veteran minimum on the board for him or on the table, and Woods said no, and they came back and offered him, another $1.5 million, and it worked. But to what you're saying is, we're gonna have some cap. And I think it's silly for a football team. Now, I don't think it's as silly now that I know this information, where if you do have available cap, it rolls over into the next year. That's how the Jags had like 72 million.
Yeah.
Is you basically, let's say you're 10 million underneath the cap going into next year, that 10 million will be tacked on to what's available to them next year. So that would make some sense, especially since, let's say Kirk has a good year and they want to at that point restructure, because then he's going to be paid 45 million. So there's that way of thinking, but at the same time, it's like you got Eric Fisher still on the market, and Mitchell Schwartz, who is, in my opinion, the best pass blocking right tackle in the game. And it seems like this front office, this organization likes piecing together the offensive line instead of
just grabbing the best available.
Yes.
It seems like they go after the guys. I mean, in a sense, they want just the scheme, which I get a lot of that.
I think they regret Bradbury.
I don't know if they do. I don't think Bradbury do. I don't mind him.
Well, what I
last year, most time he was doing a single block, doing fine, and then he looked left and Dozier getting run over by Akeem Hicks.
Well,
he had to slide over at the last second, and it's like,
what I mean by that is, instead of going after best available, they went after need, and
they did go high on him.
They did. So that's why even like, let's say Slater's there, they'll take him.
Slater needs to be.
But if Darrisaw's there, I can see them trading back.
Yeah.
I'd like Darrisaw here. I like his tools. I like his athleticism. He fits what the Vikings like. He's like the same size as Brian O'Neill as far as weight and height go. But I see them investing more into the defense because there is still a couple holes there. And linebacker, especially, Barr can't stay healthy. Kendricks is top 3 middle linebacker in the game.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But I think the last 3 years, Kendricks has missed a total of 6-7 games also. And behind that, you haven't re-signed Eric Wilson. You have Troy Dye, who doesn't wear gloves and can't tackle, and Cameron Smith, who's coming off of open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm partially thinking that they're going to be looking at a linebacker in the first 3 rounds also.
Well, I have, to get back to our mock drafts, I have in all 3 of mine that I kind of do different scenarios. Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky.
Tell us a little bit about him.
I just think he's kind of a perfect build for him. He's not someone that necessarily is going to step in day one.
Right.
He's definitely a complimentary linebacker where he's like, okay, he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year ever, but he's going to fit with that role, especially next to Kendricks.
Right.
And Nick Vigil,
That's right. I forgot about him.
I like him.
Yeah.
But we didn't get him to go and get 100 tackles.
We got for special
him.
teams.
Very good special team.
Yeah.
And he fits a role in a defense, but it's not something that the defensive coordinator is going to lose sleep about.
Right.
But adding someone like a Jamin Davis, to me, this makes a lot of sense. I think he's a little smaller. 6'4", 6'4", 224.
Okay.
But he's got speed and he's got a lot of upside.
Right.
He's development.
Sure.
And he'll be weak side
Okay.
for his career. But I like him. I like him a lot. And it's like you said, need. And at a 3rd rounder, we have 2 of them. It's an easy choice for me.
Right. My hot take / prediction is that the Vikings do take a quarterback within the first 3 rounds this year. You told me Viking scout was at Trask Pro Day. I told you that Clint Kubiak went to Kellen Mond's Pro Day. So I feel like there is a good it's time. It's time to bring in a quarterback through the draft and develop him. That's not a 6th or 7th rounder or an undrafted free agent. Like I was saying, Kirk Cousins is going to be going into the last year of his contract next year. Bring in a guy that needs to take a couple years to figure it out. And at that point, you got, let's say Cousins' contract expires. You feel good about Trask or Mond. You got 2 years on a rookie quarterback contract where you can spend that $30 million that you were spending on Cousins on your roster and build out a roster that's just, next level elite. I mean, can you imagine if we spent $40 million on, like, if we had $40 million to throw at the offensive line, our roster would be just ridiculous. You could put, I'm not going to say this because this is kind of preposterous, but you could put like a Trent Dilfer at QB and go 10-6. You could with $40 million invested on the offensive line. Because you still have some great weapons on offense, Cook, Jefferson, Thielen, Irv Smith potentially. And your defense is already nasty.
In this year, especially in those 2nd rounds, we trade back. Would you be more confident doing a 3rd round in that? Or would you be confident? So in one of my favorite ones, or one that I would do, if this was like, I could guarantee this. I had Darrisaw, 1st rounder. Aziz Ojulari, 2nd rounder. Then Jamin Davis and Kendrick Green, guard from Illinois. Then I have Cade Johnson, wide receiver, South Dakota State. Benjamin St. Juice, corner, Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah.
Then a couple just depth. Tommy Tremble, tight end from Notre Dame.
Which we need. We need depth at tight end.
It's not a great pick, but it's a need. Bobby Brown, the 3rd, a D inside lineman. And then I went Sam Ehlinger down in the 6th round. QB from Texas. To me, I don't know if I would go 3rd round when a Sam Ehlinger is that type. Because he's a Trask. He's not going to start right away, but he's basically a Kirk Cousins 2.0. Make all the throws in the books, just needs time to develop.
And then at that point, like I was saying, you get the rookie contract,
Yep.
build around him. So everything around him is perfect, where he just has to manage a game and not lose the game.
Yeah. Because that's where I see this quarterback class is you're either going to get a top 5, or to me, the rest of the top 5 are the same. Whether you get him in the 3rd or the 7th, a Sam Ellinger and a Kyle Trask, I think have the same potential.
Can I just say how exciting this era of football we're entering is? It feels like the quarterbacks that are available in this draft and that are going into the league right now are just a different breed of athletic. And it's like when Randy Moss came in the league, he changed the game for wide receivers, one-handed catches, you got mossed. Where Patrick Mahomes has changed the game for quarterbacks, throw off your back foot, throw no look, throw with your left hand. Brett Favre was kind of like that, but he didn't see the level of success that Mahomes had. And when you look at these pro days and you look at the athleticism of these quarterbacks, and even Mac Jones ran a 4.8, I mean, we look at Mac Jones like he's a statue, and he still ran a decent 40 time for a quarterback.
Really good.
So it's just an exciting time to be a football fan. Just if you appreciate quarterbacks, in my opinion.
Well, that and the whole live and die by speed.
Yep.
It's making the game more fun.
Yeah.
You know, like how we were talking about yesterday with the Twins, and the length of a game. Well, no wonder why no one wants to watch it. You can watch the same amount of time, but people are happening. Every play, something happens. And
Yes.
It's fast.
Yes.
Where in baseball,
football games are over in 3 hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's fast.
Yep.
Like every play is 100%. Where baseball, you get that one pitch. Okay, delay. All right, one pitch delay. All right,
And
no home run ball. Or football is everyone on the field is fast, and everything happens quick.
And they've catered penalties to help the offense for more points. You know, I'm a traditional baseball fan, and I can sit there for 4 hours and watch baseball. I don't have a problem with it, but I hate to see the game die. You know, it's because I have a love for it. But anyways, back to football. My hope is that they do take Kellen Mond. I watched his pro day. He's athletic. His deep ball is beautiful. Not just the range of it, but the arc on it.
Yeah.
When I think of like a Kirk Cousins deep ball, which is one of the nicest in the league, I love the arc on Kirk Cousins deep ball, because that's one of the most underrated things about Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, is his ability to hit somebody 40 yards downfield. And even myself, you know, I'm kind of hard on him because he's the highest paid player on the team. I feel like when you're paid that much, you should make a difference. But at the same time, he makes throws that we haven't seen here in 15 or 20 years. So other than 2009.
Yeah. When do you think, so Kirk Cousins is our quarterback now. We got to start thinking for the future. My hope one day is that Vikings do something to get someone. I'm sick of dealing with this. Oh, our quarterback's good.
Yeah.
Quarterback's good.
Top 10, you know.
Maybe top 10.
Yeah, top 12.
Can we go get a top 5 once in the Vikings history? I mean, it's been a while.
Those guys are hard to go out and get. Usually you gotta
see,
develop.
You see teams who do this, you know, look at the 49ers, look what they just gave up.
Yeah. They're taking their shot.
And that's what, and you know, I know the Vikings got burned before doing that, but they got burned being dumb.
Yeah.
They got burned drafting Christian Ponder in the first round when they could have got him in the second. They got burned like that. I want to see them say, all right, we have the 14th pick. We'll take the 14th. Here's our 3rd rounder. And first round next year, we'll get pick 5.
Right.
We're going to get a chance.
Well, yeah, going back to the Ponder thing, it still would have been a bust. But I think the fan base would have appreciated trading that 12th, trading next year's first, try to get Blake Bortles, who was taken 3rd.
Right.
You know, like you said, just taking your shot on that guy. Like the Chiefs with Mahomes, they traded up, they took their shot with their guy. So I get what you're saying with that. Let's get a guy that's top 5.
Let's go after someone and not an old person. Let's not go get them after their prime or he had a couple good years like we did with Favre. Okay, I still love that signing, but let's go get a young guy who's fun to watch, brings a little excitement. Because his offense is fun, but it lacks that, what's gonna happen. If the pressure breaks down, he's going down. Our quarterback's down. Cousins is on the ground.
Yeah.
When you see some of these other new quarterbacks, fun quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks, they make plays.
Yeah.
When things break down.
Yep.
They have a bad offensive line.
Keenum made plays.
Keenum did make plays. So that's where I think I want to go.
Off topic. CBS News reported last week that this is most likely Aaron Rodgers' last season as a Green Bay Packer.
Absolutely.
2023 rolls around because he's not going to go to the Vikings right after he goes to the Packers. 2023 rolls around. Kirk Cousins is gone. Aaron Rodgers is a Minnesota Viking.
You've been saying that all.
0 to 100%. How likely is that?
5%. I don't think
He's a very vengeful person, and he's a psychopath. No one likes him, not even his family.
I get that, but I think there's a different. What do we got?
It's either going to be Bears or Vikings. How about that?
I can see that. Or he'll go.
No, he won't. No one will go to the Lions.
But I could see the fact. Yeah, I could see that he could be on one of our teams. Also, you know what's crazy? We missed JJ Watt by 1 pick with Christian Ponder.
I think that's the same draft that we also we took somebody 2 picks before Richard Sherman in the 3rd round. Also, I forget who it was or what the situation was, but we also missed on Richard Sherman. Also,
Love it.
If you want to rub salt on the open wound, and not to mention you took Matt Khalil the year before with your 3rd pick, which at the time seemed like a good deal until he got hurt. But so, okay, I'm making 3 calls about the Minnesota Vikings here. My first call is that they take quarterback in the 1st round. My second call is that they trade for Orlando Brown on draft night. And my 3rd call is that they value wide receiver higher than any of us think.
I like those. Richard Sherman's a 5th rounder.
5th, okay.
Boy, everyone screwed that one up.
Yeah, they did. Well, he could have been product. I mean, obviously he's very, very skilled player, but he could have been product of the Pete Carroll cover 3 system. All he had to do is cover a third of the field.
You don't actually want to know what that makes worse is we drafted Brandon Burton, corner. 15 picks before that.
That's what it was.
That's awesome. I'm proud of us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no one can really see that.
No, that's like saying you passed on Brady's 5 times.
But then we got Christian Ballard in the 4th. We did awful.
Yeah, that was a bad draft. Ballard was a bad pick.
We didn't have a 3rd, probably because we traded up for something. Kyle Rudolph in the 2nd. I don't care about that pick.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And then Christian Ponder. God, that was awesome. Way to go, Vikes.
What's your closing statement?
Scenarios. Either A, Darrisaw's on the board, or Slater. Slater's on the board. Draft Slater, run to the podium with Slater.
Because he can play all 5 positions, I read. He played center, guard, or tackle.
If he's not there, I'm okay trading down. No lower than like 25th though. Like you can trade down 5 spots, get a 2nd rounder, give up one of your 3rds. That's a great trade. Because I also see a receiver point. They will draft a receiver before round 4.
Yeah.
And it's something if they get a 2nd rounder.
If we roll Chad Beebe again,
there's some in one of mine. I mean, I know it's hard, it's really optimistic, but Wandale Moore was there at 38.
All right.
You pair that up with an Irv Smith, a Justin Jefferson, a Thielen, and then a Rondale Moore.
I can't wait to see Irv Smith play full time. That's part of my resentment for Kyle Rudolph. Is
over under 12 touchdowns.
Under. That's part of my resentment for Kyle Rudolph was, and it's not Rudolph's fault, but from the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line, why is Rudolph on the field?
Yeah.
Throw Irv out there and let the guy run the routes. I mean, It's been proven that Kirk Cousins likes his tight ends. He made Jordan Reed into a star. And since he's been here, he doesn't I mean, he never said it, and it hasn't been said, and it's not even been reported, but you can tell he doesn't like Rudolph because Rudolph is slow. Rudolph doesn't get open.
No. And that's why I think 13, 14 touchdowns
For Irv.
Just because you look at that, one of their biggest plays is the motion out of the receiver, runs a cross route or a little just slant.
Mhm.
And Irv or the tight end runs a corner route to the corner.
Yeah.
And Kirk looks his way every time.
Yeah.
But he never was open. He was too slow.
Yeah.
Irv will be open. If he's paired against a linebacker and the safety has to respect Jefferson, Rondale Moore, or Thielen, they gotta respect him. They have to look that way first. By the time they look back, Irv's in the end zone.
That kind of goes back to, I think it was 2 years ago now. Kirk Cousins, I think PFF said, had like the third or fourth most time in the pocket before throwing. He does hold on to the ball sometimes too long. And that exposes our offensive line, obviously. But when you say that, it makes me think, well, a lot of times maybe because there's so many jumbo sets they run, maybe his first read is Kyle Rudolph. And Kyle Rudolph ain't there.
Well, you can kind of see it in the pocket last year. He would turn his shoulders and get the body going. Like he's looking or he's making the throw before he wants to. And then he looks and he's like, oh, you're not open.
Yeah.
And then it's basically make something happen to Jefferson or Thielen.
Right.
Which both those receivers are great at that. But that's why I think Irv next year is going to break out.
Yeah.
He's one of my already deep sleepers in fantasy football. I might not even go after a top tight end. Wait till round 9 and go after Irv.
Well, in Minnesota, you might have to wait till round 5.
Yeah, true. People are after Minnesota Bulls.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, what's your 3 calls?
3 calls. Vikings trade down. Receiver before the 4th round. And I do think they will draft their quarterback for the future. Whether I don't know what round, whether it's 3rd, 4th, 5th. I could see them at 4th round if like Trask is still there.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my big ones. My other big one though is if the 14th pick, the Vikings aren't dumb. If someone falls, he's gone. If we get to the 14th pick and we have a Pitts, a Micah Parsons, or Slater, one of those guys fall. I could even see
one of them are going to fall.
I could see like a Patrick certainly fall.
Yeah.
Gone. That is
you got to take him.
Mike Zimmer's running to the podium himself.
Yeah.
And he's probably got laser eye surgery again.
Oh, yeah.
He,
he knocked Clint Kubiak over to get to the podium.
Yeah.
To get out of my way, Clint.
Yeah. He's getting it.
Adams' defense needs to be top.
I think the Vikings, if that guy isn't for like one of those guys, don't fall.
Mm.
They'll trade back.
Yeah.
And they will. And I'm okay with that. I don't think at 14 we're missing anything to go from 14 to 20 and maybe get a 2nd rounder. That's
right.
Easy move.
Right.
Easy move in my eyes.
Right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the 2nd segment of Cade's and Jesse's podcast here. Again, hit subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, check out our website for daily articles, blogs, news about any of our Minnesota teams. Thank you for joining us today.